Imagine growing thousands of pounds of food right in your own backyard, year after year. Now, what if I told you that eventually you'd never have to water it, never weed it, and never ever fertilize it? Sounds completely impossible, right?
But here's the thing. This isn't some late-night infomercial gimmick. It's a real, permanent system. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the exact blueprint for how it all works. Let's get into it.
So yeah, we're talking about a food forest. It's a system that doesn't fight against nature. It literally just copies its homework. The whole idea is based on pure ecology, and once it's mature, the ecosystem itself does all the heavy lifting for you.
Okay, so how on earth do you get from a regular old patch of grass to this impossible garden that takes care of itself? Well, the key is realizing that to build a food forest, you've got to first understand how a real forest works.
I mean, really think about it. When you walk through a healthy, ancient woodland, who's out there weeding? Who's hauling in bags of fertilizer? Who's watering it when it doesn't rain? The answer, of course, is nobody. The system runs itself. A food forest just takes that genius blueprint and swaps in plants that you can actually eat.
But here's where it gets really cool. The secret to this whole thing, it's not what you see above the ground. Nope. The real magic, the engine driving everything, is happening right under your feet. It is all about the soil. So let's just nail this down. A food forest is basically a garden that copies a natural woodland. You're stacking plants in layers, one on top of the other, to create a garden that is pretty much self-sufficient. It's a total game changer in how you think about where food comes from.
And this right here, this is the secret sauce. See, your normal garden soil, it's all about bacteria. They break things down fast, which is great for annual veggies that only live for one season. But a forest soil? That's a whole different world. It's dominated by fungi, and that fungal life is exactly what long-living trees and shrubs need to thrive. Getting this one thing right is, well, it's everything.
So these fungi, they create this incredible partnership with the plant roots. Scientists call it the common mycorrhizal network, but you can just think of it as a biological internet. It's this massive underground web that connects all the plants. They can literally send nutrients back and forth, trading resources. It's wild. It even allows them to send warning signals to each other about pests or drought. It's like they're all talking to each other.
Okay, so that's the why. Now for the how. How do we actually build this thing? Well, it all comes down to a really clever 7-layer system. Think of it like building a skyscraper of food, where every single floor has its own special job. So here they are, the 7 layers. You've got your tall canopy trees at the top, an understory layer beneath them, then shrubs, then an herbaceous layer of non-woody plants, ground cover, the root crops underground, and finally, the climbers that weave their way through it all. Each one fits into the puzzle perfectly.
Just to give you a taste of how this works, think about the canopy. Those are your big guys, your main solar panels, turning sunlight into energy for the whole system. Then you've got the shrub layer. Think blueberries, raspberries. This is where you get your first exciting harvests pretty early on. And maybe my favorite, the ground cover. This is your living weed killer. It carpets the ground so weeds just don't stand a chance.
All right, now for the part that sounds like magic. How do you actually get rid of chores like weeding and watering forever? This is where the real genius of the design comes in. It's all about doing the right work up front so you never have to do it again.
First, you lay down cardboard right on top of the grass. No digging. This is called sheet mulching, and it just starves the weeds of light. Easy. Then you pile on a super thick layer of wood chips. This is huge. It acts like a sponge for water, and it's the perfect food for that fungal internet we talked about. If you're on a hill, you can dig something called a swale. It's just a fancy word for a ditch that catches rainwater and lets it sink into the ground instead of washing away. And for the grand finale, there's hugelkultur. You literally bury logs under your garden beds. Over years, they rot down and become these giant underground sponges, holding water right where your plants need it. It's all designed to last.
So after all that clever design, what's the payoff? I mean, what do you actually get? Well, the results are, honestly, they're staggering. We're not talking about a cute little hobby garden here. This is a legitimate food-producing powerhouse. And we have the data to back it up. Check this out. A peer-reviewed study of one food forest found it was producing almost 9,000 kilograms of food per hectare every single year. To put that in perspective, that's enough food to feed 5 or 6 adults. This isn't just a theory. These systems can actually outperform conventional farming. And water? You barely need any. Because the whole system is designed to be a sponge, it uses 30 to 50% less water than regular farming. I mean, after a few years, the system basically waters itself. It's incredible.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. The whole no work thing, that comes later. This isn't instant. Year 1 is all about setting things up. And yeah, it's a lot of work. But then, years 2 and 3, you start getting your first snacks. Berries, herbs. By the time you get to year 8 or so, that's when the magic really kicks in. The forest is mature, it's running itself, and your main job is just, well, to pick the food.
So if you're feeling inspired and thinking about starting one, please learn from the mistakes others have made. Don't plant things too close together, give them room to grow, and use smaller semi-dwarf trees unless you have a ton of space. But the biggest one, whatever you do not skip that ground cover layer. Seriously, that's the #1 mistake that will have you stuck weeding for the rest of your life.
So, what's the big takeaway here? With the right plan, you're not just planting a garden, you're building an ecosystem, a permanent food source that could feed you, your kids, maybe even your grandkids. You're not just planning for this summer, you're planning a legacy. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What could we all achieve if we finally stopped trying to fight nature and just worked with it instead?